this concept of a rich. Now, yesterday, when we looked at this number Yud Ches, I think it was, or Yud Zayin, or Yud Ches, what he's saying is that the reality is that there are a parallel universe that is Arich, that goes from the very beginning of Atzilus all the way down to the floor of Atzilus. And that is the other side, that is the Sitra Achra and Kedusha. They both exist, parallel universes. We could be in either one, or because they're mixed with us, we could be in either one or both, and that's what it is. Now we're at the bottom of page Tov Kuf Mem Zayin. We'll be down a little bit lower, and it says Rebbeir Naisif. Here's another idea. Rebbe Perish Mariv Saruk. Now the Bris Saruk Lefi Darko. Zad Shana B'da. So we talked about the original contraction. So this contraction actually is a way of making boundaries. That I use that word for every single sphere. So he says he measures each one. Each one becomes measured as a result of that. And it would go around also besavuv, so went around. Ukeneged also hashir shechola besovet koisech meniach arishimo shelo boor. Now, this may take a little bit more understanding for me. He says, according to it goes around, it goes in a circular formation, as I think of what he's saying. Geneged osach hashir, and so the amount that it goes around, shechola besavuv, as it goes around, and that process of going around, which is the kind of concept of the carving out. So he leaves this in Avir. Now we don't get a definition of Avir. Avir is what? Avir is empty space. And then it makes the roshim itself long, like the letter Vav at Kan. I think a lot of things in it about going around could be explained a lot more. Let's go to another one. So we do know there's a carving out that takes place. So the question is that going from the carving out, which is a circular formation, which he said there, he says, and then coming into the idea of it being long, like a vav. So here's Bia Shalishi, Reva Ferish Talmud. So he says like this. So let's just finish this one. I guess is the best we could do. He says, Talmud, Kan Al Pi Sodas Kabbalah's Maria Saruk, back to there again. So the Lashon Arich, long, of his Pashtim the Kan. Okay, that's our phrase actually coming out from Rebbe Shimon. So what is that like? Po. Hu besod Arich Anpin. It's really talking about Arich. So it's like the concept lengthening or lengthened. Key parts of Kasser shall Olam Chatzilus, Shuhu Reisha de Arich Anpin, who been the Malchus the Ark. Now, all of this stuff, I don't think that we saw this before, but maybe you did. Is that once again, he says the parts of the Kasher of Olam Atzilus, the Kasher that's the top of Olam Atzilus, Shuhu Reisha de Arich Anpin, it lines up in relationship to Ark at his Bina. Excuse me, at his Malchus, but not just in the Malchus, the Bina the Malchus. So there's some understanding there. I don't necessarily have it. He says once again, the Kasser lines up to the Bina of the Malchus of Ak. Okay, so that's where Eric Anpin is in relationship to Ak. But parts of this Pasha the Kan, and then it spreads. Ki necha b'besari cheza aloka. Sha'adach matachach b'malbish malvushach b'meguronach b'meksevav v'lamata v'haroshu mugula b'li levush. So once I say that we cover our bodies, or I guess he's talking about us, but he said, and that's us. We put our clothes on, the clothes don't cover our heads. The head is revealed. The same concept here is this. Kaviyachol echad malvish as chavera b'kseifa of the mata. So what happens is every part of covers over the other. Well, let's just call it from the shoulders downward. Shechem mechesech of the gevura lamata. So we call these the shoulders is part of the arm. Although the rosh who besod keser, but the rosh, which is the secret of keser, chochma bina, which is the chabad, yeah, not the chabad. He says the kochov. He said b'chula olam megula. It's always revealed. He chochma bebina abba ve'ima, which are also known as them abba ve'ima tetzila malbishim as Eric Anpin miksefer b'atziburo. So again, once again, that Eric Anpin is covered by them. But the Tiferes and Malchus b'tibur lamata, and then you have the Tiferes and Malchus. They cover it from the tibur lamata, so it's covered. Reisha the ain malvish the for the reisha, which is the ain malvush the reisha the lo isyada. Now he says the reisha, the top of the head, it doesn't cover over the reisha of the lo isyada. In other words, the reisha of atik. Ki keser who's so the gulgoltas, because the keser means really the skull. The Chachma Babina, so the Pana, they represent this, I guess, the two sides of the face. But Nimsach Rosh, that is a Resha and the Ain, he has to start using this phrase Resha the Ain. So I assume that he means the Resha of Atik. Lo'olo Malbush, the Resha, the Lo Isida, Mechesa, the Gavur, Shalo Lamata. But it only covers, so this phrase Resha the Ain, it sounds like he's talking about that doesn't cover anything. That's the I guess the ratio that's not covered. Also, lo malbush the ratio lo isyada, but on the other hand, it covers over the ratio lo isyada mecheser the gevur lo lamata. So not the same kind of idea. Bekeser chochma bina shadol megula. So he says, and when you're talking about the ratio the lo isyada, it's revealed, it's uncovered, it is uncovered. Masha Ain came Eric Anpin. Malvish as Resha the Ain. So it does cover the head of the Ain of it is Barim Od Lamal. So I'm not sure what Resha the Ain goes on. We saw it before, or at least I thought I saw it before. Veina Begulo Baraka Keser Shalos Sod Kar Kafta the Tefillin. So the only part in Eric Anpin, Masha Ain came Eric Anpin, Malvish as Resha the Ain. God does cover it over in his bar of in his arech ma'od lamala, and it goes from that place. It goes very, very high upwards. That is away from the lower world and towards the origin of reality. Veina megula raka keser shalom. The only part that's megul is the keser. So karkafta the tefillin, which is the top, I guess, the skull that deals with the tefillin, where the tefillin go. V'gam the mata this arik ma'od the parts of shalosh. So not only that, but it also goes way, way down. Mitztayim shava b'shava im ragdach b'malchus rachel, and it ends up with the same thing at the bottom with rachel. V'zechah she'amar arich. That's what it means by it says arich, and mispasha the kan. So I got a little mixed up in the place where I thought that it didn't cover the ratio lo isyada. So on the other hand, it says he says going back ratio the aim. So malvush the ratio lo isyada, but it does cover the head of the ratio lo isyada. He said malvush the ratio lo isyada. It covers atik. Mechazer the gvur shelo lamata. Bekeser chochma bebina shelo megula. But he says in Esha Yisada a ratio lo isyada that it's megula. Masha Ain came Eric Anpin, which is not the case by Eric Anpin. He's a malbish as ratio the Ain. It covers over the ratio. Then it's arech ma'od lamal. Now I'm not sure what that phrase means. So it sounds, I know when he says Benisarek and it covers over the head, ratio Eric Anpin goes way, way up. Now he just said that it doesn't cover the head of the ratio lo isida. Now he says, but it itself, I don't know what this means. Veina begula raka keser shalo. So the only part that's not covered in the case of Eric Anpin is his keser. So karkafta the tefillin, etc. Okay, we'll stop right there. A little bit ideas I didn't get 100%.